KCAL rocks after our first huge weekend of full-on football. It's time to talk some sports with our guy Pep. What's going on, Pep?
What is up? And the NFL certainly did not disappoint this weekend. Guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was just a weird weekend. Like teams who weren't supposed to win were winning and going on the road, and teams that were supposed to be washed up apparently are not washed up. They're still pretty good. Any big takeaways from you guys about the first weekend? Because I thought it was just amazing. Like we had upsets, and again, like teams that weren't supposed to win were winning in this first week. And I'm thinking specifically about that Saints, huge demolition of the Green Bay Packers.
I know, I think you just never quite know exactly what's going to happen.
I mean, I think with the way preseason went down, not a lot of stars playing in the preseason. This was kind of the first chance to get people out there. I wouldn't put a lot of stake into week one, maybe even week two of the NFL season this year.
But if you played well, I mean, it's tough to be like, we look great.
Yeah, exactly. If you're a Rams fan, I mean, you're already saying like, okay, who are we going to play in the Super Bowl? This is going to be good. It's going to be in Los Angeles. We're going to be in the Super Bowl. Who's going to come from the AFC? It's probably going to be like, you know what I mean? Like seriously, the Rams. I got on social media. They love Matt Stafford. It was a huge win against Chicago Bears, 34-14. And Stafford looked great. He didn't play in the preseason. It was our first look at him. And guys, Matt Stafford looked like the real deal.
He looked like he was just teeing off, basically, to me.
I mean, he has been a great quarterback his whole career. He's just kind of been stuck in places where they didn't have good coaching, didn't have a lot of pieces around him. So, yeah, I mean, getting him somewhere else, I think he's going to shine pretty good.
He certainly looked like it yesterday.
Yeah, the Rams, great defense. Now the offense is coming along, and they look like they're going to have a pretty good season with Matt Stafford under center. Now the Chargers, kind of equally impressive. They went on the road to a playoff team from a season ago in the Washington football team, and the Chargers win 20-16. Justin Herbert picking up where he left off, over 300 yards through the air, leading the Chargers to that season-opening win and giving their new head coach Brandon Staley his first win with the Lightning Bolts.
That was kind of a gut and grinded out kind of game. Nevertheless, they went to the East Coast and came out with the win. I always say that's a big deal for a West Coast team to do that.
Yeah, that's a hard travel thing for them to do. So, yeah, going out there and getting that win, that's a big one for them.
Good sign for the Chargers.
Yeah, speaking of going to the East Coast, I know it's not all the way on the Eastern Seaboard, but Patrick, your Seahawks going to Indianapolis. That was not an easy win, but they did it.
No, it's the same thing, just like you said, with teams suddenly doing great. We had a rookie defensive lineman. His last name is Green. He just dominated and killed Carson Wentz, and it was the same thing. Who's this guy? Playing lights out. Awesome.
Exactly. And I'll give a shout out to 40's Philadelphia Eagles. Jalen Hurts had himself a big game as they rolled up the Atlanta Falcons pretty easily, actually. So you guys probably had a great weekend as both your teams won.
Much like, or actually unlike any other Eagle fan or really football fan in the world at this point, I am not getting too high on week one. I understand this is not going to be what the NFL season is. All these teams that did well are not going to do well all year. All these teams that did terrible are not going to do terrible all year.
That's true.
See, I'm Mr. Jump to Conclusions guy, right? Like, I'm not a Rams fan. I'm a 49ers fan. They beat the Lions yesterday. So I'm like, okay, we're going to have a great year. The Rams are already in the Super Bowl. They're already putting their team in there. You know what I mean? Like, after one game, and you guys are right, a lot of these starters did not play at all, not a single snap through the preseason. So their first game was kind of that tune-up. Knock off the rust, and and hopefully things will either, hopefully progress and get better for some of these teams. But yeah, right out of the gate, some of them look so good, like the Rams. You're like, okay, all right, we're in the Super Bowl. This is good. It's going to be a fun year.
And that does remind me, Pep, this week we are enemies because the Eagles will be taking on the 49ers this week. And I'm like, okay, if we can get past that and look good, maybe I'll buy into us a little bit more.
Okay.
Yeah, no sliding against the Atlanta Falcons. But beating the 49ers will mean something a little bit different than beating the Falcons.
Right, absolutely.
So the 49ers won yesterday 41-33 against Jared Goff, the former Rams quarterback, and the Detroit Lions. And guys, because of that win, when you look at the whole NFC West and the whole entire AFC West, all of those teams won. They were undefeated through the first weekend of the NFL. The only team that has not played yet is tonight, the Las Vegas Raiders, an AFC West team. But guys, dude, the West Coast is the best coast. Huge weekend in the first week of the NFL.
It will take it. Good.
So if the Raiders can do it tonight against the Ravens, which will not be easy, right? The Baltimore Ravens going to Las Vegas, fans in the house. We'll see if Derek Carr and the guys can get it done on Monday Night Football tonight.
Yes.
College
Now,
football.
Pep, you're a 49er guy. Have we seen the last of Garoppolo? Is Trey Lance going to be the guy now? I mean, they seem like they switched that over real early.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, Trey Lance threw a touchdown on his very first pass, right? But
Yep.
Garoppolo's the guy that did, most of the quarterbacking in that win against the Lions. And listen, they put up, 41 points. Yeah, so, Garoppolo's still the guy going forward. They might, put in Trey Lance in some gadget plays, here and there, might, sprinkle him in there. But yeah, Jimmy G, unless things start collapsing, Jimmy G's the guy in San Francisco.
And then warming up before the game, when they first showed Jimmy G, I was surprised how gray he looked. I'm like, oh, he's like a president. He has aged so much. This has been very stressful on him.
I mean, I think one of the good things that we didn't see a ton of in week one was injuries, but Jerry Jeudy might have been one of the biggest ones. I think they're saying just an ankle sprain, the MRI is negative or X-ray is negative on that.
Okay.
Broken.
Yeah, we got a lot of Bronco fans here in the Inland Empire, and they had a nice win beating the Giants. But you got to stay healthy, man. This is only week one. You guys still have your guys going forward. You got to be healthy coming out of week one.
Yeah, 16 more weeks to go. Extra game this year.
Yeah. A long regular season now in the NFL. Guys, if we could quickly transition to college football from this past weekend. If you're a USC football fan, you don't really want to reminisce about what happened this weekend at the Coliseum as they lost to the Stanford Cardinal. And actually, they lost to former Centennial High School quarterback Tanner McKee. We talked about this last week. The Stanford Cardinals said, Tanner McKee, you're our guy at quarterback. You are the starter. He went out there and he lit up USC. The final score in that one was 42-28 at the Coliseum. Stanford wins.
He looked really good, and to quote my biggest maybe USC fan friend on Sunday morning when we woke up, he said the most disappointing thing was that Clay Helton was still their coach.
No,
dude, Pep, there's a lot of heat on Helton right now, and a lot of people are saying with how poorly the Jacksonville Jaguars did that Urban Meyer is going to coincide his chest pains with Clay Helton getting fired.
Oh, man, are we already plotting an Urban Meyer to USC story? Oh, my gosh. Yeah, and
Helton.
Yeah, Clay Helton's been on the hot seat for years, guys.
Could be tough.
Yeah, I mean, can USC kind of get out of that? We have to hire from within. We have to hire an LA-based guy to then bring somebody better in. I mean, after week one of the NFL, it looks like Urban Meyer might be available sooner than later.
See, you know what? Again, going back to jump to conclusions guy, which is me. Yeah, you could be like, dude, Jacksonville's going to be a mess. It's going to be bad. Urban Meyer's going to be like, I don't want to be playing, coaching college, or I don't want to be coaching professional football and go back to college. And then Clay Helton will get fired. I can see that. I'm connecting the dots already after one week,
I think that's what Trojan fans are really hoping to see themselves.
Well, listen, Patrick, no offense against Washington State, but USC needs to go on the road and beat Washington State this upcoming weekend. Because if they lose on the road at Washington State, coming off the loss to Stanford, it's going to be really, really bad.
Fire them on the tarmac.
Oh, yeah. It's like getting kicked in the grapes losing to Washington State.
Lane Kiffin style, right? Like, hey, don't even come back to LA.
Don't even let him off the plane.
Just don't even come home.
Kick him out mid-flight.
Hey, guys, listen, put some respect on the Pac-12. We saw UCLA beat LSU in that first weekend, right, which is the huge signature win of the first weekend of college football. And then this past Saturday, we saw Oregon going on the road to the Horseshoe and beating the Ohio State 35-28. Guys, dare I say it, the Pac-12 is going to be really, really good. It might be top-heavy. We might have a couple really good teams, but the Pac-12 is beating some of those top programs now out there in the country.
I'll be honest with you. I mean, obviously, I don't think anyone saw this coming, but I watched that game absolutely stunned that they went into the shoe and just handled them like that.
I mean, the end of that game, they almost gave it up a few times. It got pretty dicey there, but Oregon was able to hold on, which I think shows you that they are a good team. They didn't just give it up when they could have. Ohio State was really pushing to win that game at the end, and Oregon was able to hold them off.
You could see that Nike money can raise the talent level to Ohio State. The talent level was about even.
Cha-ching, cha-ching with that big Ducks win. So UCLA had a big win against LSU, Oregon against Ohio State. Yeah, this might be a year where the Pac-12 is going to get a team into the college football playoff. We'll see. We still have a long road to go. And if you're a UCLA fan, they got Fresno State this weekend, which can be kind of a tricky game. The Bulldogs always play tough.
Yeah, they could. You got to look out for these games. They're kind of a trap game, but God, they look good. I mean, it's the same thing.
Same thing. It's a long road. You can't be riding that big LSU win and forget about, what's coming up in front of you. And again, like Fresno State traditionally has tripped other teams up. So you can't look past the Bulldogs onto your next game. You got to focus on Fresno State, or again, even 1 loss, 2 losses might be the end of any type of, college football playoff. You got to stay the course.
And a team like Fresno would love to be the team that trips up a team that's doing good.
Oh, my goodness. They would love it. Pep, tell them how to get your stuff.
Hey, it's Inland Sports. You can get the stuff on our Inland Sports social media accounts. We got the Inland Sports YouTube channel as well. Talking a lot more about our local college guys. Check it out. That's Inland Sports.